Hey guys, Ruck and Scott here. I posted a couple pictures of my WR250 X when I had this LED light bar on there, and I got quite a few questions on what it was or how I installed it, whatnot. A couple people sent me a message, and I tried to send some pictures out of how I set mine up. Recently I had to take it off in order to do a safety inspection, so I was going to put it back on today, and I figured it might be a good time to do a quick walkthrough on how I set mine up, so if you guys wanted to do the same, or if it just gave you some ideas to do a different one. This is an 8-inch LED light bar I bought off of Amazon. It was only $23.99, so it was pretty cheap, but it functioned quite well how I wanted it to, and it fits on there nicely. So I'll put a link in the description of the actual light, so if you want to purchase the exact same one. And if you want to get an upgraded one or a better one, bigger one, whatever, maybe this will give you kind of a push in the right direction or some ideas of how you can install yours. So let's just jump into it. Alright, so in the box you're going to have the LED light bar itself and two different types of brackets. So you're going to have 4 pieces for bracket wise all together, because there's 2 different types you can use. I already have mine installed on there, and I don't want to move them off of there because I finally kind of got it adjusted playing with what I wanted to. So I'll just kind of show you. It's really simple. So you have these long brackets here. Make sure you guys can see that. And then you have these kind of that have a little angle on them or whatnot. So all I did is I took the long brackets and put them to the LED with these bolts right here were supplied. So you just put the long brackets on there. Make sure the L part is facing to the outside when you do it. And then I just used another bolt, and all I did was, you can see here, I bolted the second bracket to it. So when they kind of curve forward, as you can see, they curve towards the light itself. Sorry, my neighbors are doing some construction down here, so they're pulling in and out, and it threw me off. But you can see it kind of curves down forward right here. Just make sure that it's curving the light output direction. So you can kind of see that. And I've got it done on both sides, how it comes down and then curves forward. And I'll show you how I installed on the actual bike itself. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this little holder here for the brake line, because that's going to get in the way. So it's just a little 8mm. So we're just going to get in there. We're going to take that off completely. So if you take the little bolt out here, take it out, and then it just kind of opens up and you can pull it off. Hang on to that, but set it to the side. I'll explain why here in a minute. So next thing we're going to do is on the front of the headlight assembly for the whole plastic piece, there's an 8mm bolt down here. Let me get the 8mm, there we go. 8mm bolt down here. So we're going to take that off. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just take those out completely. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the headlight off. Alright, once you got these 2 little bolts out, make sure you do like I always do, and I'm sure you guys already do, but just a heads up, make sure you set them on the ground, that way you can kick them and lose them all over the place. Seems like it never fails. But once you get that off, the headlight will kind of, you can see it starting to pull back. If you've never taken it off, on the bottom, there's 2 little posts that go into rubber grommets. So if you just lift up on it kind of hard, it's flexible, so it's not going to break. I mean, don't get too crazy with it, but alright. So then you've got the headlight assembly off, and you can unplug it completely and take your whole headlight and set it to the side. Don't kick that one. Alright, now you've got everything exposed. I'm going to go ahead and set the LED bar up there. Alright, with the LED bar sitting up here, you're going to make sure you run your cable down. So those 2 bolts that you just took off that hold the headlight housing, you're going to reuse those and put the headlight housing back on. The only difference is you're going to use it kind of like it's a washer pretty much. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to, that's what I did last time. So stick this on this side, and what that'll do is that'll work as if your brake holder. Alright, so I remember what I did now and what I was doing wrong. So you're going to want to actually set the headlight up on here first and then bolt it in and use the pieces of the headlight as kind of a spacer, because if you try to do it otherwise, this doesn't fit quite right up in there. The reason you need the headlight completely off though is you want to wire it in. Now if you want to wire it straight to a different toggle switch, that's fine. You'll have to run wires from a power wire or from the battery or however you want to do it. Personally, I ran mine into the high beam of the headlight. So I just spliced in here, and I'll solder it and put some heat shrink on it and whatnot. But that way it's on the high beam, because the headlight kind of sucks on these anyways, and the high beam isn't much better. So what I would be careful for though is don't use your high beam if there's any cars around, because this isn't DOT rated, and one of the big reasons why it's not is the light scatters a lot. You'll be able to see and you'll be able to, you know, it'll work for its purpose, but if there's a car coming, it's really gonna blind them bad. So I have mine hooked to my high beam. If you want to do yours differently, you can do yours. I'm not gonna give you a tutorial on how to wire it up, so check back in when I'm bolting it up. But basically your yellow wire is your high beam, and your black wire is, well, obviously your ground. So if you want to wire it that way, tap into the yellow wire, that's for the high beam, and then the black is ground. So I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see, but I'll explain and you'll get it. What you want to be careful for too is the wire kind of comes out in the middle towards the back of the LED bar. You want to make sure you tuck it down in there good. You don't want it to, you don't want it to be covering your speedo and it looks terrible, and you don't want it to get caught up on anything. So if you look down in there, you can see your clutch cable and your switch wires running down in the middle there. So if you just fish the wire, it'll come right out right next to where your headlight wire is. Alright, so I've got my wire soldered in here. I put some heat shrink on each wire from the positive and the negative, and then I wrapped them together with some electrical tape, and then I wrapped the whole piece in electrical tape really good. And reason being is make sure, however method you decide to do it, you seal your wires up really good. Even if you are a fair weather rider, which I typically am, there's always the possibility you get caught in the rain or you go through a puddle. The last thing you want to do is be riding home and it starts raining, and then you think, ah, crap, sucks, I'm in the rain. And then you end up shorting something out because water gets in it and you lose your headlight, or worse, than that. So just make sure you wrap it up real good with whatever method. Heat shrink works great, and then don't be shy with some electrical tape as well. So now that we got that put on, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the headlight back on. So I had to take this off, put some new blinkers on. Inside the fender there's two little rubber grommets. Make sure that your light goes back in there. So sometimes these will come out with the headlight, which is fine, it's not a big deal. And that happened to me last time, and I tried to put them back in the fender with the headlight. So if they come off with the headlight, like I said, not an issue. Just take them off the headlight. They sit on these little posts here, and like I said, they will come out. So just pull them off and put them back in the fender. I messed with it for like 15 minutes last time like an idiot, trying to get these to stick back in the fender, and it's damn near impossible. I mean, you might be able to, and if you can, great, but there's no point in really fighting it. Just stick them back in the fender, like so, and then take your headlight. Make sure you plug it back in, and it's plugged in real good. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take the two little pieces there, and you're going to line them up with those holes, and then you're going to do the reverse. You're just going to push on it real good. It's kind of stiff. Now, this is the part I was talking about. Since you can't put the brake holder back on, just make sure that it sits inside, and what that'll do is it'll sit in between the headlight and the brackets for your LED bar, and that'll keep it from moving around, so you'll be good on that. So then with that in place, we're going to move the headlight where it needs to be, almost like we were going to bolt it up, but we're not going to bolt it up quite yet. Alright, so once you got that lined up, you're going to get the bracket for your new LED bar bolted up. And next we're going to spend 10 minutes looking for those bolts I just kicked around. Alright, so remember, it's the metal piece for the bike itself, then the headlight, and then your LED bracket. So get all that lined up. So you got to line up 3 different little pieces, which can be, and you need to press on the headlight to get it to kind of go where it needs to be.
I've got the camera on a tripod. I don't have a cameraman, so hopefully you guys can see kind of what I'm doing at least. Alright, so I got one side in. It's kind of hard to see getting the camera set up, but I'll take it off the tripod here in a second. So I'm going to put the other side in. And once they're in, I'm just going to go ahead and snug them down. Like I said, it should be the bike, the plastic for the headlight, and then the bracket for your LED bar. And then once those are on, they're both finger tight. I'm going to snug them both down. Alright, now let's see if I can show you guys how this actually works. Alright, so now what we got is we have a bracket here attached to another bracket. I just have a bolt and a nut on the back. And these are both the brackets that are supplied with it. And it bolts onto the headlight housing on both sides here. You can kind of see this one a little better. And then I have the brake line running behind it. And my wire for the headlight goes down in here in the middle wherever all the other wires go. And I'll probably put a little zip tie right here to kind of hold it out of the way as well. So the only thing left to do is make sure it works and test all my other lights. Alright, so I've got my normal headlight on. Don't forget that when you go to test your headlight, the bike has to be running. The only reason mine is on still is I started the bike and then I hit the kill switch, and that left the headlight on. That way I can talk to you guys without the bike running. Otherwise, the bike needs to be running when you test it. That's the easiest way. So my normal headlight is on. Once I hit the high beams, the high beam comes on and my LED bar comes on. So then after that, all you need to do is loosen these bolts, and you can tilt the LED bar itself and adjust where you want, and then tighten these back down. Make sure you get them real tight because the bike does vibrate a lot. Alright, and there you guys have it. Your LED bar is all set up, and you can use that on your back roads or your dark trail rides or whatever you need it for. I like to ride on some back roads. It gets real dark, there's no lights, no cars, so I can flip on the high beam and it comes like daylight out. So if you guys like this video or you found it helpful, please give it a like. Be sure to share it with your friends, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought, or if you have any suggestions. I'm Ruck and Scott. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, ride safe.